Okay, hello everyone. My name is Shaylin Cullen, and I'm the technical manager for this session titled Monitoring the Cost and Affordability of a Healthy Diet at Global and National Scales with FAO. This session is chaired by a team at FAO, and we'll go into introductions in just a bit. I want to thank you all for taking part in ANH 2026, and we look forward to a robust and interactive session today. A quick reminder that everything you might need to access the conference materials and program can be found on the ANH Academy website. If you would like to speak or connect with a speaker or other attendee following this session, please navigate to the member directory page on the ANH Academy website to look them up and send a direct message. Before Anna takes the conversation forward, I have a few technical announcements to ensure our experience is as smooth and interactive as possible. First, this session will be recorded and posted on the ANH Academy website following the end of the conference. All participants have been muted upon entry, but please introduce yourselves using the chat feature. Let us know your name, where you are joining us from, and the organization you work with. We encourage you to share your webcam video feed during the session if your connection allows it. If you have any questions, we invite you to share them in the chat throughout the session. And last, if at any point you experience technical issues, please check your audio settings and your internet connection. You can always try to reconnect to the session using the same Zoom link. And if you have any technical questions, please send me a private message using the chat feature. Thanks so much. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Shaylin, and welcome everyone to our Learning Lab on monitoring the cost and affordability of a healthy diet at global and national scales with FAO. I'm so pleased to be here for the 10th time to have this Learning Lab as part of ANH Academy Week. It's been a long journey over the last decade, and this is the first time that we're hosting this session on behalf of FAO, which is now in a new phase of this work to institutionalize the support to countries on monitoring these indicators of cost and affordability of a healthy diet. So we will introduce ourselves in a moment. First, I'd like to just encourage everyone to use the chat, and thank you, Will, for starting us off in the chat. Of course, Will has been deeply involved in these labs also for the last decade. And as the example, Will's started off in the chat to just say your name and where you're coming from, so we can start to get a sense of who's here in the room. And we're going to be encourage everyone to use the chat frequently, ask questions, make comments, and hopefully to have this be a really interactive session. As presenters, it always makes it better for us to know that people are here and to be able to sort of see who you are and where you're coming from. So thanks for starting this off. Great to see people start to fill in those notes in the chat. So we can now, our team, as you are all introducing yourselves, our team can briefly introduce ourselves. My name is Anna Herforth. You have done this lab in the past as a co-director of the Food Prices for Nutrition project. Now I have a different hat, which is as a senior advisor to the statistics division at FAO. And colleagues, please, who are co-leading this session, over to you, Filippo.
Thank you very much. My name is Filippo Gheri, and I'm working as a statistician in the FAO Statistics Division, in the Food Security and Nutrition Statistics team, that is the team in charge of food security statistics in the FAO. Over to Stella.
Thank you, Filippo, and good day, everyone. My name is Stella Wambugu, also a statistician at FAO Statistics Division, and nice to have you all here. Thank you. Over to Thibaut.
Thank you, Stella. Hello, everybody. My name is Thibaut Meillan. I'm an economist with the Agri-Food Economics and Policy Division at FAO. I am based in Rome, and I'm very happy to participate in this learning lab for the first time. Over to Martin.
Thank you, Thibaut. Hi, everyone. My name is Martin Sicovies. I teach at the National University of La Plata, and I also work at ESA at FAO, doing basically economic modeling, and it's the first time that I'm part of this learning lab. Thank you. Uh,
Thank you so much, team. And we'll hear from each team member and facilitator throughout the course of this learning lab. For now, I will begin the session by giving an overview of the cost and affordability of a healthy diet indicators. Actually, before I start to share my slides, I think it would work best if we start the poll already. If Shaylin, you can share the poll. We have a few questions for the participants today. So this is, again, we've done this learning lab before, so we wanted to first hear from you on whether you all have attended training or seminar on these indicators before, including it could be a learning lab or it could be something else. And secondly, if you've used these indicators before in your work or cited them. And then thirdly, one of our activities in the Learning Lab today is around FAOSTAT. So if you have in your work accessed FAOSTAT before, not necessarily for these indicators, but for any purpose. So we'll give a moment for you to continue answering those poll questions. I see most people have participated. We'll give a few more moments before we share back the results. See, almost everyone has participated. So now we've got almost 80% response rate. Shaylin, I'll leave it up to you when you'd like to start sharing back the results.
We'll give it an extra couple seconds just in case.
Yeah, people are still logging in.
Okay, I will end the poll.
Great to see people from all over many regions, Africa, South Asia, South America, Southeast Asia, seeing great to see everyone. Okay, so would you like to share the results? Or is it what we're looking at now?
It should be, yep, I should be sharing right now.
Okay, so we've got most people here have not attended a training before on these indicators. That's great. We're happy to introduce you to these, although a quarter have, and hopefully you'll pick up something new today. And similarly, about 3/4 have not used the cost and affordability of healthy diet indicators before, while 1/4 has used them. Hopefully, after the end of today, the percent who has used these indicators in your work will be 100%. And most people here have used FAOSTAT. So 2/3 have accessed and used FAOSTAT, and a third have not. So again, after today, hopefully the number who use FAOSTAT will go up to 100%. All right, thanks for that. And now I can share my screen still has the poll. Did everyone see the results, or shall I just close the window? It's a little hard. I'm just going to close the window. It's hard to see what everyone else is seeing from my screen.
Okay.
So I'll
I ended the
share.
poll from my end, so it should be over.
Okay, thanks a lot. So let's see. I'll share the slides now. Are my slides visible? Great.
Okay, name Ahar.
All right, great. get started. So I'll give an overview of the indicators of cost and affordability of a healthy diet. And just to say that we, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is the 10th year of doing this learning lab, and it all started with Imana. The Imana provided in their first round of grants back in 2015. We had an initial grant on indicators of affordability of nutritious diets in Africa. And this was a 2-year project that ended up developing we called it then cost of recommended diet, now called cost of healthy diet, and other indicators that have been used for different purposes since, looking for how we can use food price data to better understand people's access to healthy diets. And we started this in just 2 countries in Ghana and Tanzania. And this was based at Tufts, which it has been for the last decade until now, shifting the main responsibility for monitoring to FAO. And so this first grant from Imana actually started a series of work that evolved into the next phase of work that was called Kandasa, which was expanding into working beyond the 2 countries in Africa into Asia, and then expanding into the Food Prices for Nutrition project. And these 3 grants covered a decade, and Will Masters and I co-led these. Also, Jenny Coates from the beginning in Yanda was involved in leading this work with a lot of collaborators, particularly in the beginning phase from Ghana and Tanzania. And this work resulted in the indicators of cost and affordability of a healthy diet being incorporated into the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World reports beginning in 2020. Of course, that is a UN-wide publication led by FAO, and the indicators were jointly produced starting from 2020 between FAO and World Bank with our support from Food Prices for Nutrition. And so now we have, at the end of Food Prices for Nutrition, we were able to bring together collaborators from around the world who have begun to work on monitoring and analyzing these indicators in many different countries and regions. And this was an event held in Rome a year and a half ago with FAO and the World Bank. And this was sort of the turning point where we discussed shifting the work of expanding monitoring of healthy diets and supporting countries to FAO into this next phase, where we have now begun since the beginning of this year for at least a 4-year phase, but it's really the start of a fully institutionalized process of both continuing global monitoring led by FAO in collaboration with World Bank, as well as fully institutionalizing the support to countries for monitoring these indicators and adding support for policy analysis and optimization, along with a sister project at Tufts University, which Will Masters is leading, and Rachel Gilbert also has been involved for many years. And you've heard her in previous learning labs, those of you who might have attended. So really excited that this new phase is progressing to broaden the reach and purpose of these indicators, not only monitoring, but the purpose being we don't monitor only for the sake of monitoring something, but to use them for policy dialogue and policy impact so that people will have better access to healthy diets. So what's changed in the last 10 years? Well, a lot of things have changed. One thing is what we're going to do in today's learning lab. A decade ago, what we did was a pencil and paper computation to learn the principles of selecting least cost items in food groups to find the cost of meeting dietary guidelines. And I'll talk more about that concept. But basically, the cost of healthy diet being the minimum cost someone has to pay to meet food-based dietary guidelines. So a decade ago, we were just looking at lists of food prices and selecting those that were the least cost to understand the principle of how that works. Today, that principle has been integrated into FAOSTAT, and we will have an exercise in finding the cost using FAOSTAT as a platform. And also, we'll have another exercise to discuss policy options to address high costs and low affordability. Again, that being a key aim of this next phase of work to use the indicators that are monitored. So another thing that's changed over the last 10 years is government action. So a decade ago, in our first learning lab, we had already had several months of collaboration with the Ghana Ministry of Food and Agriculture that we involved in the presentation, and we're piloting the ministry was piloting an expanded food list in order to track the cost of healthy diet, which they ended up mainstreaming throughout the country since 2017 and have been monitoring food prices for all of these years that include not only starchy staples and basic commodities, but the things that people actually eat, vegetables, fruits, very important pulses and animal source foods within their price monitoring. And so today, not only Ghana, but 4 other countries have begun to officially track this indicator at national level, including Ethiopia, Malawi, Nigeria, and Pakistan. In Ghana, they have already begun to use this indicator for the policy purpose. It's within their flagship program of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It's called Feed Ghana. They have a strategic goal to reduce the cost of a healthy diet and are using it to select crops to support that would better achieve the goal of food security, including access to healthy diets. Last year in the Learning Lab, we focused on Nigeria. We had a presentation from Nigeria and their monthly bulletins that the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics produces on cost of healthy diet have resulted in an increase in the minimum wage. So that's one policy impact that has come out of this indicator. So what hasn't changed in the last 10 years? The vision, the basic purpose of what we're trying to do, which is this is a slide that I went back to the first learning lab and copied exactly. The vision of when we speak of food prices, the concept we're measuring should reflect the food that people need for active and healthy lives, to reflect the definition of food security, which is where all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to meet dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. And that's been our definition of food security for the last 30 years. And it really means that food security is accomplished if people have access to healthy diets. That's what nutritious food to meet dietary needs means. And so the purpose of cost and affordability of a healthy diet is to be able to reflect this definition and measure whether people have access to healthy diets, which is a condition of food security. When we have done that measurement, the most recent report found that around 2.6 billion people in the world, that's nearly 1 in 3 people worldwide, could not afford a healthy diet. And so this is a problem that coincides with reported experience of food insecurity. It coincides with hunger. It's another aspect that we can look at to understand people's access to food. You can see that the majority of these 2.6 billion people are located in Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. And I want to unpack this statistic. First of all, when we say, 2.6 billion people can't afford a healthy diet, what do we mean by a healthy diet? How much does it cost that they cannot afford it? And how do we measure if the healthy diet is affordable or unaffordable? So what do we mean by a healthy diet? We turn to countries for the meaning. Countries have defined a healthy diet in national food-based dietary guidelines. These are policy documents that are official standards for what constitutes dietary needs. In many countries, they're the basis for social safety nets and nutrition education and other programs. And they represent a realistic way for regular people to select diets that are nutrient adequate, that also protect health against non-communicable diseases related to diets, such as diabetes and cardiovascular disease, certain cancers. So they're healthy in the sense of both nutrients and protection against non-communicable disease, and that they're dignified and culturally appropriate. They're something that's basically palatable and aligned with food culture. So we can see some of the dietary guidelines that countries have published here, a few examples. About 100 countries around the world have published dietary guidelines. So when we did a review of these guidelines a few years ago, this was from 2022, we actually looked at guidelines from around the world and put them together and created basically an average, looking at the food groups that were most commonly recommended in the proportions that they were recommended to come up with an average across dietary guidelines that represents commonalities across many countries. And we call this the Healthy Diet Basket. The Healthy Diet Basket is a global standard set of criteria representing commonalities across most national food-based dietary guidelines, which was created for the purpose of calculating and comparing the cost and affordability of healthy diets across countries. And the validation paper that we published about this in Nature Food shows that, as you would expect, because dietary guidelines are created for the purpose of meeting nutrient needs and being healthy in many ways, the average across them in the Healthy Diet Basket also meets those criteria. So it turns out that even least cost diets that meet dietary guidelines and the Healthy Diet Basket standard meet about 95% of micronutrient needs on average. They meet macronutrient balance within recommended ranges. They are diverse, containing, as we have defined it, at least 11 items across the 6 food groups contained, and moderate in the sense of meeting WHO guidelines for free sugar, salt, and saturated fat. And they're also sustainable. Least cost diets that meet the standard have an almost identical greenhouse gas emissions and water use as the Eat Lancet reference diet, which was created specifically to be a sustainable diet pattern. And so we didn't introduce criteria around nutrients or sustainability. All we did was reflect dietary guidelines. And it turns out if you follow dietary guidelines, and what we measured in a least cost way, it turns out you meet all of these needs and criteria without even having to model them. This is what the Healthy Diet Basket looks like specifically. It has 6 food groups: starchy staples, animal source foods, legumes, nuts, and seeds, so plant and animal sources of protein, vegetables, fruits, and oils and fats. There's a specific calorie amount attached to each one, which again represents the average across countries. And the total energy included is 2,330 calories per day, which is the average energy needs across populations. When we talk about finding the least cost way to meet that standard, what we mean is that those food group proportions stay constant. The food groups themselves stay constant and the proportions stay constant. But the items that one could consume are substitutable. And that's the way dietary guidelines are built. You don't have to eat an apple and a banana. You can eat various kinds of fruits to meet the fruit requirement. And it depends, if you want to find the least cost way, it depends on what's in the market. So we use locally available food items with the lowest cost per person per day at each time point. And of course, those items that are least cost will be different in different times. Right now, I am in the northeastern part of the United States, and it's June and it's strawberry season. So strawberries are actually quite affordable right now as a source of fruit. If I went to purchase them in the middle of December, they are available but less affordable. So that's how, seasonal differences will affect the items that come up as the least cost items. And so we select 2 items from starchy staples, 1 item from oils and fats, 3 items from vegetables, 2 from fruits, 1 from legumes, nuts, and seeds, and 2 from animal source foods, just to meet sort of a minimal, diverse diet that would be, culturally palatable and recognized. And we come up with 11 items minimum for the healthy diet. And what we found globally is that the least cost items in those proportions of the healthy diet basket turn out to be about $4.46 per day per person in international dollars, or purchasing power parity. This is the lower bound. So if we added other considerations like tastes and individual preferences and convenience, we could, of course, spend a lot more to achieve a healthy diet. But this is the lower bound, below which it's very hard to purchase a healthy diet that meets the dietary standard in the market. I want to explain a little bit about the currency. When we say purchasing power parity, we are it's also known as international dollars, and this is the currency unit used for global comparisons. It converts different currencies to a common currency. That's what the PPPs are, and equalizes purchasing power by controlling differences in price levels between countries. And so those are established by the International Comparison Program based at the World Bank, which is our partner in producing these indicators. Yan Bai is part of our core team from the World Bank and working with the ICP program on the prices that are produced worldwide and using these PPP units. So one confusion we often find is that in the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World reports, when we say the cost is $4.46 in international dollars, often people interpret that as US local currency, which it's not. So PPP are not the same as local currency units, or LCU. And so we have to keep that in mind in interpreting the cost across countries. And in FAOSTAT, we see the currencies reported both in PPP and in local currency units. And there's the World Bank publishes conversion factors at the address shown on the slide, which you can also just search online. So then finally, when we're talking about affordability, we take the cost of a healthy diet and compare that cost after also accounting for non-food basic needs, because people also every day have to spend on both food and non-food. And we compare the cost of healthy diet plus non-food basic needs to the income distribution in order to find the number and percent of people in the population who do not have income sufficient to afford a healthy diet along with their other needs. And the data we use for income distributions is derived from household survey data. The data on non-food basic needs is derived from international poverty lines, both of which are published by the World Bank. We could go into much more detail, but that's the basic principle of how we count the number of people who cannot afford a healthy diet. And all of these statistics on cost of healthy diet per country and cost of each food group per country and the number and percent who cannot afford are available on FAOSTAT. I will end here and pass to my colleague Stella, who will give you a tour of FAOSTAT. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. And thank you, everyone. Like Anna said, I will give you a tour of the FAOSTAT. I will share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, ma'am, Swam.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm glad to see in our poll that majority of you have used FAOSTAT, and what you're looking at is the FAOSTAT website. So what is FAOSTAT? This is a free online resource that helps you access data from 245 countries and territories around the world. On FAOSTAT, we have data from 1961 up to the most recent year, and we cover indicators on agriculture production, food security, trade, nutrition, emissions, and land use. So my tour will be very brief, but there is a tutorial video that shows the different features of FAOSTAT, which is available here. And you can also choose the desired language on this tab. So to access and retrieve data, you come to the Explore Data tab here. I will click on that. That takes us to a list of themes or domains. FAOSTAT is organized in domains, and you can see there are various domains that host different indicators. So for our tour, we are interested in the cost and affordability of a healthy diet domain. And I will go straight to the cost and affordability of a healthy diet domain. And these selection boxes help you to select the data that you want to retrieve. So you will see, for instance, here, under the Download Data tab, we have the first selection box, which allows geographical selection. So the first tab here, you can select a specific country, or you can do a regional or global or sub-regional selection, or a selection for special groups. So for our tour, we are going to go the first tab and select a specific country. You can type in the country right here, or you can scroll down to find the country that you're looking for. So for example, I'm going for my favorite, Uganda. So I have selected Uganda, and you'll notice at the bottom of this box, the country is highlighted. The elements box will help you select the kind of estimate or the variable that you're looking for. We only have one selection here. It's a value. And then we come to the items box that shows us the variables, or depending on the kind of data we are retrieving. If it was production data, we will find like products listed here. But for our case, we are looking for the indicators under the cost and affordability of a healthy diet. So you can either select everything or select those ones that you'll be interested in retrieving. So I'm going for a select all. In this box, we will do the year selection. Again, you can do a multiple selection or for the year that you want. Let's go for the most recent data available from 2024. The last box here will allow us to select the source of the data. So in our case, is from the most recent SOFI report of July 2025. So I will select that. Down here, we have two tabs, the show data and the download data. You can view the data that you have selected on your screen, or you can download that selection. And to download, again, you have options here. For instance, by default, you can download it in a table. Or if you want to view the data in columns for quick summaries, you can select the pivot. The file type, either CSV or an Excel file, and the sort of thousand separator that you want. So I will leave the default, but for now, we will show the data. So once you click the show data, you will be able to see the data from the selection that you have made, and all the key variables are presented in that table that you have selected. For example, we have selected from Uganda 2024. We see the domain name, the country. We see the variable that we have selected. We see the year, the unit of measurement is on this column, and the values. You will notice we selected including the cost of a healthy diet by food groups, but that data is not available in 2024 because the most recent estimates are from 2021. But nevertheless, we will go with what we have. So what you are looking for example, on the cost of a healthy diet in local currency units, in this case is Ugandan shillings, it costs about 4,834 Uganda shillings per person per day, or 3.65 international dollars per person per day. On the prevalence of unaffordability, we find 71% of Ugandans, Uganda population could not afford a healthy diet in 2024, which is about 35.6 million people. I will go to the right side of my screen because there are also some important elements here and tabs that with important data. For instance, if you look at the first one here, I will just expand that. Here we have a short description of the database that is quite helpful to the users. If you want to download data on this domain, there is the bulk download option. These are zipped CSV files and also grouped by regions. Another important document I want to highlight here is the suggested reading. We have provided a methods brief that is quite useful to understand the methodology. The definitions and standards tab, I will click on that. This lists all the details, classifications, and items in each of the data sets. It is downloadable. For instance, I can go to the item here, and you will see it gives a detailed description of each of the variables. I will close that. Another important tab will be the metadata. I will click on that. So this will give you information that describes the concepts, the methods, the quality of the data that will help you in your interpretation of the results. I will close that. So I will go back here and go to the next tab here, the visualized data. This is also a very important part of the FAOSTAT where you are able to see charts. For instance, I'm going to select one country. Let's go to Zambia. And once you do the selection of the country, we get this pie chart that shows the cost of a healthy diet by food groups. So what you're looking at, we can see about a third of animal source food contributes about a third to the cost of a healthy diet per person per day in international dollars. If you hover over the pie chart, you will be able to get the cost in international dollars per person per day. Again, going down, you will see some charts with the trends. The first one showing the cost of a healthy diet in international dollars per person per day from 2017 to 2024. Again, by just placing the cursor, you'll be able to see the value. The next one is in local currency units. In this case, the Zambia kwacha. Again, you'll see the value just by placing the cursor over the chart. And down here, we'll see the percentage of the population unable to afford a healthy diet, again, over time, and the number of people unable to afford a healthy diet, again, over time. We'll get a chance to do an exercise, but I'll hand over to my colleague, Anna, to explain the next exercise. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Stella. And now we can do a quick exercise together where you can access this domain yourself and look for data using this visualization. So in the chat, I've pasted the domain, the URL, which Stella is showing. And if you go to your own browsers right now, and just either click on that link or paste it in, then once you go there, you will land on, maybe Stella, you can demonstrate once they go to that URL, they will see the download data tab. And that is if we click on that, this is going to be the default that you see, which Stella gave a tour. So what you want to do is click on visualize data. So Stella is demonstrating where that is. So could the participant sort of indicate with a thumbs up or a chat message if you've started to be able to access this on your own computers? Great, thanks. I see lots of thumbs. Thank you. So once you get to this tab, visualize data on the cost and affordability of healthy diet domain here, click on area where Stella has her cursor. It's defaulted to world. So actually, if we just look at the world, we can see here that we can see the breakdown of the cost on average around the world. We see that fruits and vegetables is about 40% of the cost, and animal source foods is about 28%, starchy staples 16%, and then the et cetera. You can see all of the groups. So we're going to look at this by country that you're interested in. So in the area that says world, choose either the country that you're from or where you're working or where you're just really interested. Just select one country, and we're going to have a series of poll questions for you to answer based on the country that you are looking at your own computer. So I believe now, Stella, you could stop screen sharing and we'll have the poll questions from Shaylin. If there are any questions, any difficulties, just type them in the chat about questions on how to access this visualize tab. Great. So now you should see the poll. So the first question, which food group in the country you're looking at contributes the highest share to the cost of a healthy diet? So that's going to be the highest percent within the pie chart for the country you're looking at. I guess you see all the poll questions at once. So the second one is then which food group contributes the lowest share to the cost of healthy diet? And then using the line graphs that Stella demonstrated below the pie chart, what proportion of the population cannot afford a healthy diet? So about a third of participants have answered so far. We'll give you a little bit more time to explore your country visualization. Those of you who are done, you could type into the chat which country you're looking at. Rwanda, Nigeria, Brazil, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Netherlands, Zambia, Philippines, Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Tanzania again, Nigeria. Great. A lot of diversity. Ghana. Tanzania, Nepal, Ghana, Chile. Fantastic. So we'll give a
I
couple
am
more.
from Indonesia, Ma'am.
Indonesia, thank you. Great.
Yeah,
Great,
I'm from
Malaysia.
Kendari, Southeast Sulawesi. Alumna of Animal Science faculty member. Concentration of Animal Product Technology.
Great to have you here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so we see a case of no data, so went to a neighboring country. Okay, good choice. Let me see. Pakistan, other Nigeria. All right, so we have some majority of people have answered. And Shaylin, I think there's a different visualization whenever we want to end the poll.
Sure. And that should be visible now.
Okay. Can everyone see the results? Great. Great. So for the first question of those who answered with this wide diversity of countries, which food group contributes the highest share to the cost of a healthy diet? And we see that over half, it was animal source foods contributing the highest share of the cost. In some cases, vegetables, fruits, starchy staples. Very few cases, legumes, nuts, and seeds, and oils and fats. That does sort of reflect the global. When I sort of introduce the global shares, I actually put fruits and vegetables together because they're often sort of dealt with by the same part of ministries in horticulture. And so it's very predictable and typical that we see animal source foods being a high cost. And it makes sense, right? Because animal source foods actually should cost more than starchy staples or oils and fats or seeds, legumes, nuts, and seeds. They take more energy, more resources to produce, and that should translate into a higher cost. But of course, it's important for us to see that and be aware of it, understanding that a lot of people with low incomes are just not able to access animal source foods, which are, part of the healthy diet and efficient ways of consuming micronutrients and protein. And so even the small amounts, the healthy diet basket has quite a small amount of animal source foods, and even the small amount may be unaffordable for a lot of people. Just a curiosity, if you are still looking at your country pie chart, if you add fruits and vegetables together, would the answer change? Sometimes we see fruits and vegetables, as in the global average, are actually a higher cost than animal source foods. But usually it's kind of those two big food groups that end up being the highest cost. So just take a moment and in your head, add up the fruits and vegetables. You might want to type in the chat if the answer to this first question, which is the highest share of the cost of healthy diet, would or wouldn't change, yes or no, if you add the cost of fruits and vegetables together. So we often see those as high cost food groups. Now, if we look at the second question, which food group contributes the lowest share to cost of healthy diet? The majority said oils and fats. That is very typical. And the second place was legumes, nuts, and seeds. That's an important insight because often these are very low cost sources of protein, micronutrients, not entirely substitutable. for all animal source foods, but they do tend to be an underconsumed and affordable source of important components of healthy diet. So important to see that come up. And of course, oils and fats tend to be the cheapest source of calories in general, and also the lowest share of cost of healthy diet. So then the third question, what proportion cannot afford among the countries that you looked at? The majority here were between 51 and 75%, with ranges across probably in the Netherlands, we would have seen less than 25%. Whereas in some of the countries that you typed into the chat, it definitely would have been over 3/4 of the population, over 75%, who cannot afford. Great. So thanks for participating and looking up your countries, and you can do this now in the future with other countries you may be interested in. Excellent. So I think we can close the poll, and we now have another couple of presentations to share before our second activity. So I'll hand over to my colleague Filippo.
So let me share my screen. And let me confirm you can see my slides. Wonderful.
Yeah, Sir Jeffy.
Thank you very much. So in these minutes, I will tell you a little bit about the FAO role in moving from global monitoring towards supporting countries in institutionalizing the cost and affordability of healthy diets and monitoring system. Anna already presented the global monitoring exercise that is currently conducted by FAO jointly with World Bank on cost and affordability of healthy diets monitoring. So since 2020, you may know that FAO, together with World Bank, is producing a set of indicators that capture both the cost of a healthy diet and people's ability to afford it. And also what Stella presented in the website, you have seen that this set of indicators is composed by the cost of a healthy diet, also disaggregated by the different food groups, the prevalence of unaffordability, and the number of people unable to afford a healthy diet. One key feature of this framework is that we purpose separates the cost from affordability. And the reason is that the diet may be expensive, but whether it is unaffordable depends also from people's income. So it's important to keep this separation between cost and affordability. These indicators, again, since 2020, are published in flagship publications like the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World, that is led by FAO and together with other UN agencies. And results for these indicators are disseminated through FAOSTAT, as you just saw, but as well as also in other platforms, for example, in the data dissemination provided by a platform provided by the World Bank. So this global monitoring system that is currently in place is very well important. Why? For different reasons. First of all, these provide a shared methodological framework. And this is very important because when we talk about monitoring the cost or monitoring the affordability, depending on the purpose of the initiative, we may mean different things. So it's always important to understand what we want to measure and then define common methods that are agreed not only from one or two UN agencies, but also possibly with countries. So this global monitoring system gave the opportunity to come up with a shared methodological framework. And this is also providing comparable estimates on cost and affordability across countries and years. This shouldn't be taken for granted because most of the time indicators assume comparabilities across time and across years. But this is not, this has to be proven, and the current estimates that are provided by FAO and World Bank allow track long-term trends across regions and countries. Another important aspect of the global monitoring is that these anchor the cost and affordability of healthy diets in food security monitoring and reporting that is important to raise awareness on affordability and put affordability in policy agendas. So while global monitoring is extremely valuable, this is not sufficient for real-time policy action. And this is because global indicators are not designed for this. Of course, the limitation is not in the methods informing the indicators, but rather on the data informing the methods. Just to give you an example, as Anne already mentioned, the data that feeds the methods that are currently used for global monitoring cost and affordability of healthy diets are based on the International Comparison Program or the Poverty and Income Platform Income Distributions, that are two large data sets provided by World Bank that are updated only every few years. In addition, this cannot provide subnational disparities, or we cannot even reflect specific dietary guidelines as defined by countries, but for global monitoring, we use a standardized basket. So all these data limitation are extremely important for the policy relevance at country level. And that is why national monitoring systems are needed. What we can do is to apply the methods that are currently used for monitoring system to national specific context. And this allows countries to use, first of all, data that are already available, like, for example, the price data that are collected in the context of the CPI initiative, or data that are collected from the Household Consumption Expenditure Surveys, national dietary guidelines. All these data that already exist can generate estimates on cost and affordability of healthy diets more regularly. So, for example, we can try in terms of cost, this can be generated even monthly or quarterly, depending on the frequency of the price data collection. But especially this allow establishing the differences, to capture differences at regional level or at seasonal differences, and understand which are the populations in specific countries that may suffer the most issues related to cost or affordability. And this is extremely relevant for policies because these allow to identify drivers of the diet cost, understand which are the most affected or the most vulnerable populations or regions, and then try to establish which are the main policies that may address the specific issues affecting specific population or specific regions. In this sense, moving from a global monitoring exercise to a national monitoring initiative allows to turn measurements into actionable policy tools. So, we are moving in this direction in FAO thanks to a new initiative that just started that is called Supporting Governments to Improve the Affordability of Healthy Diet Projects. That is an initiative that is supported by the Gates Foundation as well as the UK FCDO, that are also two institutions that supported the previous initiatives that led to the foundation of the methods that are currently used for global monitoring and that Anna presented before. What we are doing in this initiative is to scale up the work that began under the Food Prices for Nutrition initiative, because even under this project, there have been pilot studies to apply cost and affordability of healthy diets metrics to national level, to a specific national application. And this was very useful because this allowed to test the methods, how this could have been implemented. And they also tested the influence in policy discussion that was in some cases very useful, like the example of Nigeria's minimum wage debate. So in this initiative, the FAO is continuing the global monitoring exercise, so leading together with World Bank the production and dissemination of comparable estimates, but then is also focusing in supporting countries in establishing or strengthening country-owned monitoring system based on cost and affordability of healthy diets. That is something that is supported by the statistics division of the FAO. And then we are also supporting countries in making the link between this evidence and specific policies and that may target specific regions or population groups. The second piece that is managed and led by the Agri-Food Economics and Policy divisions of FAO. We are, as I said, this initiative just started. So here you will see the website that is still under development, but you will see already very useful material and information like official definitions and of the indicators, methods, papers for reference, reports, event. This will also provide some information on the team and how to reach to us in case you need. That's all on my side. Thank you very much. And I think I will leave now the floor to Martin that will focus on the second component of FAO in the implementation of a national monitoring system, that is the link between evidence and policies. Over to you, Martin. I will stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, thank you, Filippo. Yeah, that's true. I will be showing you how we use this data in practice to advise on how to design policies. So let me switch. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I will be showing you how this cost of the healthy diet is being used as an input into a tool that FAO is using to advise government on how to, let's say, optimize the agricultural policies that are being used to promote the agricultural sectors. So for that, there is a tool in FAO which is called PolOpt. It's a policy optimization tool. And technically, what we have in this tool is a combination of a multi-criteria decision technique, because we will be looking at more than one policy objective at the same time. And we combine that multi-criteria decision technique with an economy-wide model, because we will be looking at optimal policies. These are the policies that we will promote in order to achieve different objectives. And we will consider those policies in the context of the overall economy. Okay, we will not be looking at one sector in particular. We will be looking at the whole economy at the same time. The idea of this tool is that it can be used by policymakers to assess the impact of different public expenditure allocations across different policy instruments. It's like policymakers, they have more than one policy tool, more than one policy objective. So how do we select which are the best policy tools that we should use in order to achieve the different policy objectives? Okay, and the idea is that we can use this tool to think about the different alternatives. What's the effect of the different alternatives? So what do we should select depending on the objectives? Okay, so the way in which this tool works, it starts by identifying an ideal solution for all the policy objectives that we are considering in a given exercise. Okay, so we get an ideal or utopian solution for all the policy objectives that we have. And then the tool will try to find the solution that is as close as possible to that ideal one. Because once you start considering more than one policy objective at the same time, you cannot achieve what is ideal for all policy objectives one at a time. Okay, I will come back to this point in a little bit. Okay, so we are trying to find which is the compromises that we have to make, the trade-offs that we have to consider in order to be as close as possible to our ideal solution. Okay, so that's the general idea. Let me talk about the economy-wide model that we have inside this POLOPT model. So we have a model that works as a laboratory in the sense that we can use this model to run policy experiments. Okay, so we can ask this model, what would happen if we do this or that with the different policy instruments? Let's say, what would happen if we increase subsidy to fertilizers that will make cheaper the production of agricultural products? Okay. From a mathematical point of view, from a technical point of view, it's a set of equations that we solve year by year because it's a dynamic model. It's a comprehensive model. As I was saying before, it's an economy-wide model, which means that we consider all the sectors of the economy at the same time. How many sectors do we consider? That will depend on the data that we have for the country that we are applying the model. Okay? But given that we consider more than one sector at the same time, we will be taking into account the linkages between the sectors, like the input-output relationships. The output of one sector is the input for another sector. Okay, that's especially true between agriculture and the food industry. It also considers the incomes for labor, for capital, which are what you need for production. Also the income of the households, the income of the government. And for the government, we also consider the expenditures. So we have the income side, the spending side for the government, and these are policy instruments that we have, like tax rates and different expenditures. Okay, and of course we also consider how the economy that we are modeling interacts with the rest of the world. Okay, and given that we have an economy-wide perspective, it's coherent in the sense that we take into account all the budget constraints for the components of the model. Like we have the households, we have the government, we have the different sectors of production, and all of them have like a budget constraint. If they are spending money that money is coming from somewhere, okay? So we will be looking at these optimal policies in a consistent framework, okay? That's highly important, okay? So this is a type of model in which prices play a key role. They will signal what to produce and how to produce what we are producing, okay? And this is a dynamic model, so over time the economy that we are modeling will be growing because there is a change in the population size, a change in the labor force size, a change in the capital stock that will be driven by investment, okay? And also we may have changes in total factor productivity. So I will not show you the equations of the model, but I will show you a figure that shows the different components of the model. So we have all the components of an economy here in this figure, and you can see that we have the producers, we have the families, the households, we have the government, the rest of the world, and we have savings and investment. This is the private capital account. It will collect savings that will transform those savings into investment, and investment will be used to increase the capital stocks, the machines that we have for production in the next period, okay? And we have factor markets for labor capital and the commodity markets for goods and services. And you can see that all these boxes are connected, which means that if we introduce a policy change, let's say that we introduce a subsidy, we change a tax, that will have a direct impact or a first round effect on the government and maybe on the price of some commodities. But then through all these connections, it will have an economy-wide impact, okay? So that's the type of thinking that we are doing with this model. Okay, so we take into account all the relationships. So what do we need to run this poll-opt model? Okay, so we need a database that has to be comprehensive and economy-wide. It has to cover all the components of the economy. And we usually get that from the national accounts of a country. And we combine the national accounts with information that we get from household surveys so that we have some sectoral, detail at the level of the households. And of course, if one of the policy objectives that we will consider is to decrease the cost of a healthy diet, we need information on what do we have inside that healthy diet, okay? And that's the type of data that we will get from what you saw, okay? And we might want to consider additional policy objectives as well, okay? Given that we are trying to optimize public policies, we also need detailed data on public expenditure that aims at promoting agriculture. These are going to be the policy tools in our selection of the optimal policies, okay? And for that, we use also the data that is being produced within FAO. And then we need to know what would be the impact of these different policies on the production of the different sectors, okay? How productivity, how yields are going to be affected by this or that policy instruments, okay? And we also need to assume that economic theory provides a good representation of reality, okay? And that might be a huge assumption, okay? In the sense that we know that all the models are a simplification of reality. In that sense, all the models are wrong, but some of them are useful. And this type of analysis, the idea is that it will help us think about the different transmission channels that are relevant when assessing the impact of different policy mixes, like different policy instruments that are being used to achieve some policy goals. Okay, so let me show you the results from an example for Burkina Faso. So in this case, we have 4 policy objectives. One is to maximize agri-food GDP. The second one is to minimize rural poverty. Then we are interested in maximizing off-farm employment relative to on-farm employment. And then we want to minimize the cost of a healthy diet. So these are the 4 policy objectives that we are considering, and these are related to agricultural transformation. Okay? Then we have the policy instruments. We have fertilizers, like subsidies to fertilizers. We have extension services that can be provided by the government. Then we have improved seeds. These are also like a type of subsidy that can be provided to increase agricultural output. Then investment in irrigation, investment in mechanization, investment in rural roads. One that is missing here is investment in rural electrification. And then research and development. These are the policy instruments that we have. And I will be showing you results for these broad commodity groups: cereals, oilseeds, roots, legumes, vegetables, fruits, other crops, and livestock. Okay? And I will show you results for each of the policy objectives one at a time, in the sense that we will be focusing on achieving one policy objectives one at a time. And then I will show you what happens when we consider all 4 policy objectives at the same time. You will see that the optimal mix of policy instruments will be different. Okay? So let me show you some figures. So these are the policy objectives in the different scenarios. So we have what happens when we only focus on agri-food GDP, what happens when we only focus on rural poverty, what focus when we only focus on off-farm employment relative to on-farm employment, what happens when we only focus on the cost of the healthy diet, and what happens when we focus on all 4 policy objectives at the same time. And you can see that the cost of the healthy diet decreases the most, this is this line, when we focus only on minimizing the cost of the healthy diet. But we also see that even if we are only focusing on that, we do see improvements in agri-food GDP, in rural poverty, it goes down, and also in this employment indicator as well. Okay? Of course, the improvement that we get in the other indicators is not as good as the one that we get when we focus on those other indicators. If we only focus on maximizing agri-food GDP, the increase in agri-food GDP is larger than when our focus is on minimizing the healthy diet. And what we can do with this policy tool is to consider the case in which we have more than one policy objective, and you can see how do we have to compromise when we consider all 4 policy objectives at the same time relative to what we can achieve if we focus on one policy objective at a time. Okay? So let me show you now how do we get here. Okay? So let me show you how the government budget looks like. Okay? So here we have the composition of the government budget for the different scenarios. So this is a starting point, and this part of the figure of the bar shows the share of public expenditure on agriculture that goes to cereals. Okay? And then we have the other commodity groups. And what we see in the other bars is how this public expenditure composition has to change depending on the policy objective that we are considering. Okay? And this is just an illustration. So if we move to the case in which we only consider minimizing the cost of a healthy diet as our policy objective, you can see that the government has to spend more money on promoting the production of vegetables and fruits. I'm comparing this bar to the first one, which is our starting point. Okay? And you can see how the mix of policy instruments has to change, at least in the sense that which are the commodities that we have to promote. And then again, if we focus on all the 4 policy objectives at the same time, we have a different policy mix. Okay? So this is when we look at the issue from the commodity composition, and we can look at this issue also at the level of policy instruments. And depending on the commodities or the broad commodity groups that we have to promote in order to achieve the objectives, we are going to be using different policy instruments. Okay, and this is what you have here. Okay, like for example, if we are aiming at only minimizing the cost of a healthy diet, there has to be an increase in the amount of money that goes to extension services. That's what we see when we compare this bar with the first one. And we can get the rest of the bars, we look at them in the same way. We compare every bar with what we have in the base. Okay? So, to finish. So, in practice, as we all know, policymakers, they have to consider different policy objectives at the same time, but they have to prioritize which are the policy objectives that they would like to consider. Okay, so they will have like different weights. And we have to make optimal decisions because the amount of money is not infinite. So this tool help us think in those terms, which are the optimal reallocation of the government expenditures that will allow us to achieve different policy instruments. And that's it from my side. Thank you very much. So I will stop sharing the screen.
Thank you so much, Martin. And there was one question for you in the chat from Ornella Tiboni. Are the policy objectives offered or default in the model, or can one choose from a defined set?
Okay, that's a good question. So at this moment, for the work that we have been doing at FAO, we do have a set of predefined policy objectives in the sense that we have already considered them, okay? And those objectives are the ones that I show you. And we also have objectives related to CO2 emissions or greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation as well, okay? But that doesn't mean that we cannot increase the number of policy objectives or the policy objectives that we are considering. Like in some contexts, we also consider decreasing agricultural imports, as a policy objective. So the tool is flexible in that sense. Yeah.
Thanks. We have one hand raised. We're going to move to the group activity in a couple of minutes, but I think it's good to take a bit of time for burning questions, uncertainties. Bayu, your hand is raised. Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, Ma'am Anher, thank you very much for your attention. I will ask the salam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Ma'am, Sir Anil, Sir Celine, and all facilitators from FAO. I watched FAO in YouTube. I know about the update nutrition and food system in every country. My name is Ahmad Bayu Aryawan, the alumna of Animal Science faculty member, Halu Oleh University in Kendari, Southeast Sulawesi of Indonesia. I would ask my question to Ma'am Aner or Ma'am Stau that how to every country decide the dietary guideline for minimalized higher or highest health financial as the productivity indicator. And what's CoAHD found production food cost, or in Indonesia, it means harga pokok produksi, will innovate to adaptability the ideal health beneficiaries. That's my question.
Here you have a
Thanks a lot. So if I got your question.
Yeah, you're welcome, madam.
So is this a question I believe I can answer about the dietary guidelines? So you asked how each country decides their guidelines. And this is it's a country-specific process. Actually, there are many that are published, many that are still under development, and even those that are published are updated from time to time, depending on the country. And there are various inputs. Each country does it a bit differently. So actually, FAO has a bunch of materials from the nutrition division that discuss how guidelines are developed. But in general, they seek to provide information primarily to consumers, to people about how to eat a healthy diet. The way that we use them is actually application for not being focused on nutrition education, but rather on how the proportions of food groups identified by countries in their own specific processes what are how are those available and what are their prices in the market. So that's the application that we use. And sometimes, just to say that in some cases, countries may not have a guideline, or it might be a guideline that doesn't have specified quantities of specific food groups. Like it might be a general guideline on pieces of advice on how to eat together or how to cook nutritious food. In those cases, we can use the Healthy Diet Basket Global Standard as a standard, which is actually what happens in Nigeria as they're in the process of developing a new dietary guideline. They're using the Healthy Diet Basket. I think your question was related to production as well, and those are aspects that are not usually part of the guideline itself. And what we can do rather is compare the guideline of what people are advised to eat to what is produced and what is available and see where the gaps are. And that's, I think, what Martine was highlighting with the POLOP tool is one way to look at these various inputs, what's produced, what's available, and then what's in the guidance to see how that gap can be bridged in the different policy options available and different ways they can be balanced. So hope that generally caught your question. And I think for now, I don't see other questions specifically about the topic in the chat. I think for the interest of time, we'll move to the breakout rooms. And in the breakout rooms, you have a chance to also ask clarifying questions to your facilitator. So Filippo and Thibaut and Stella and I will each facilitate a breakout room, and you'll be automatically assigned to the rooms, and Thibaut will now give an introduction to what the activity will be when you are assigned to your breakout room. Over to you, Thibaut.
Thanks a lot, Anna. Can you confirm that you can see my screen? Yeah, thank you. So we received a lot of information from the presenters so far, and we can really thank them for covering so much ground in so little time. And we hope you enjoyed learning about the cost and affordability of healthy diet indicators. And we've learned about the history of those indicators, what they measure, how to compute them, where we can find them on FAOSTAT, and also how we can use them for policy advice. So what we propose to do in the next 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, will be some group work, and we will have 4 objectives. So the first one will be to understand cost and affordability of healthy diet at country level using those indicators. The second objective will be to think about potential factors that can explain the trends of indicators that we observe at country level. Then we will look at what the government can do, what public policies, public investments they can activate in order to address those factors. And the fourth objective is to discuss potential trade-offs that can exist between those policy options. So practically, what we will do now is we will assign each of you to one of 4 breakout rooms. Each of those breakout room correspond to one country, and there will be one facilitator in each breakout room. So for Kenya, it will be Stella facilitating. For Nigeria, it will be myself. For Nepal, it will be Anna, and for Vietnam, we will have Filippo. When in the breakout room, the facilitator will present some background information on the country, looking at cost and affordability of healthy diet indicators, but also looking at policy options. And after that, the facilitator will guide the discussion to collect your input on some key facts about cost and affordability and in the country, on potential drivers and of cost and affordability of healthy diet, and also on policy option. After this group discussion, we will regroup in plenary, and we will share some key takeaways from each of the groups. So I think now we can be dispatched in the various groups. Thank you.
I've just opened the room, so everyone should receive an invitation, except for the facilitators. I believe you will automatically or manually be able to enter those rooms. And if anyone needs assistance entering a breakout room, please do let me know. Feel free to unmute.
Great to see everyone back here. And we have a few minutes to share one key insight per discussion. And I will just start since I'm already speaking. My group discussed the cost and affordability of healthy diets in Nepal. And we noticed that fruits and vegetables command the highest proportion of the cost of healthy diet, over 40% of the cost due to fruits and vegetables, in particular fruits. So we had a couple of very interesting insights contributed, many from the group discussion, but I want to highlight a couple made by Phyllis Addo coming in from Ghana. So over to you, Phyllis.
Thank you, Anna. So with fruit and vegetables, we looked at availability, how it could affect the cost of fruit and vegetables. And one of the issues we discussed had to do with seasonality. So when fruits are in or out of season, it can cause changes in the pricing. So how do we address this through policy? We said there should be focus on storage systems, having, for example, cold chains where foods can be stored, or preservation approaches that could prevent these fruits from going bad quickly, or have them saved or preserved for out of season periods. Also, governments or the ability working on road networks or transport system to get the fruits to the end users in time so they don't go bad, because post-harvest loss is also seen to affect the cost of the fruit and vegetables. So in brief, that's one of the things we highlighted in our group. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much. And thanks to the whole group for a great discussion. I'll pass to Stella, who led the group on Kenya, for your insight.
Thank you, Anna. I felt like the time moved so fast, but we had very interesting discussion. We found that animal source foods are the most expensive in Kenya, and we had very good insights from Emily. Emily, please come in. Emily Correa. You can unmute your mic.
Yeah. Sorry for
Yeah.
that. I'm sorry for the delay. Okay,
Yes.
I was the animal source food products in the Lake Victoria region. I was involved in some study in the Lake Victoria region where we have high production of fish, and yet the locals themselves cannot actually access the fish because of high commercialization of the fish industry. So we find that the locals cannot access actually the large fish. The only fish they can access is the Lake Victoria sardine. And even that Lake Victoria sardine is not as accessible as such, because the further the distance they come, the further their residents from the lake region, the more expensive even the sardines become. So you still find that they can hardly access any other animal source food except the sardines, which even sometimes can also be expensive for them to access. And another major factor in the region was that the zoonotic diseases, because I was saying, like the cattle, when they suffer from zoonotic diseases, it's expensive for them to manage. And also, they were saying that they don't have the federal extension of research. And another thing is that the technologies, agricultural technologies adoption is actually quite low, because you find that even their farms, they're just left, they're not fenced, they're not paddocked. Even if they have the animals are left to just free grazing. So those were a few of the challenges that I noted from that region. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. What about you, Anna?
Thanks so much. Really important highlighting that it's not availability alone is not always the issue. It's also disparities in access. Just producing more of a food doesn't necessarily solve the problem for those who can least access it. Thanks so much for those well-informed insights. And we have a few minutes, so in brief, let's go to Nigeria. I think Thibaut was leading.
Yes, thank you, Anna. So for Nigeria, one of the key piece of insight was the breakdown of the food groups in terms of how to what extent they drive the cost of the healthy diet. And Nigeria stands out compared to the rest of the region and compared to the sub-region as well, West Africa, because the starchy staples make up almost 30% of the cost of the healthy diet, which is on par with the contribution of animal source food. So this is a rare case, and in terms of we discussed different options, including looking at waste and loss or interventions to minimize waste and loss along starchy staples value chains, such as cereals and root crops. But we also had an interesting insight, maybe or suggestion, looking at price regulation. And on this, I would like to call, sorry, on, I don't see here, on Alanouf. I think it was Alanouf suggesting this.
Yes.
If you can just share some information on your suggestion regarding regulating the price of starchy staples. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about like price regulation. Instead of having like a different prices for staple foods, we can like stabilize food prices across all regions. So all people can get the staple food with the same price instead of like this kind of a price variation for staple food. Yeah.
Thank you, Alanouf. And just to complement this, so we discussed the trade-off implications of regulating the price of products, of course, with implications for the incentives for producers and value chain agents when the price is not derived from the supply and the demand, but more regulated, and also the fact that this can be a costly measure to implement given the monitoring costs for the government to check the price of products across the country, as well as enforcing this type of measure. So just to bring the notion of trade-off and also effects of those policies that are maybe unintended. Over to maybe Nepal, Vietnam with Filippo. Thank you.
Okay, very briefly, because I know we are very late. So on Vietnam, we reflected on the fact that animal source food account for the largest share of cost of the cost. And so we analyzed the pulses as affordable protein substitute. And we noticed that pulses has a quite low availability with respect, for example, to other the Southeastern Asia region. And but the pulses has not a relative higher cost. So we speculated that, for example, this may not be due to a limited domestic production, but actually may be an issue related to the dietary preferences favoring animal proteins. So in this case, I don't know, Christy, do you want to come in mentioning the policies, the policy action you suggested?
Yeah, so we discussed that if there's low demand for pulses because it is probably not part of the staple in the country, one thing we could do in case of policy is to probably make a case for pulses as a substitute for animal products to policymakers. And probably the policymakers can support and incentivize farmers to produce more pulses and also probably make it a staple in schools for children. And that will probably drive the demand for pulses. And of course, providing information and communication to the country on the importance of pulses as a substitute for animal products.
Thank you very much, Christy. Over to you, Anna.
Wow, what a great set of options that have come up, a wide range of policy solutions to different pieces of the problem, ranging from supply side and reduction of disparities, some price policies, demand creation, public procurement, infrastructure. These are all policies that could come into play to increase access and improve affordability of healthy diets. So I'm glad that you got a taste of thinking about these different options in the discussion. That was our intention. I'm so pleased at the discussions that came out. And thank you to all the presenters and to the hosts at A&H Academy and to all the participants for your kind and active participation. We have a couple of poll questions to close the session, and A&H Academy will share those. Shaylin, did you want to make any final words from the Academy side?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just launched the final poll, but I just wanted to say a quick thank you to our wonderful facilitators for this informative session and to everyone who joined for your participation and great questions. Excuse me. We will have the recording published to the A&H Academy site following the session today before the end of the conference. And don't forget to check out the rest of the program on the A&H Academy website because we will be going until Thursday. But thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Shell. Thank you, Ma'am Anna. Thank you, Ma'am Jeffrey. Chef Jeffrey. Thank you, Chef Ticho. Thank you, Ma'am Star. Thank you, Ma'am Sati. Thank you, Wilma. See you together.
Thank you, Bayou.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You're
Thank you very
welcome,
much.
sir.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone.
Take care too.
Okay, and I've ended the poll. Not sure if I should share those results for the last group. Anna, do you want to say anything else?
No, it's all right. We can close the session.
Perfect, and I can share those results with you.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
very
all right.
much.
Thanks, everyone.
Good rest of your
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ma'am Anna.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.